where I'm coming from, it's part of the sport, people go and come and go, but, it was a 10 years relationship with the coach, and we went through everything. We were bad, we were good. We won a championship, definitely. We have some great memories, but, it's part of the business. Josh get the response that he wanted. The people say that we are vulnerable, but I think the beast is always the strongest or the most dangerous when they're vulnerable. So maybe he woke up the beast.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Oh, Bruce, man.
I like it. I like it a lot. Now, I said yesterday I don't see them winning the West. I still don't see them winning the West. But I'm giving them a little shot. I'm giving them a shot. I mean, I think they are going to get some type of coaching bump. Not that Adelman is better than Mike Malone was, but Mike was, riding players. And I said it yesterday or whenever it happened, that some of the players were tired of it. You've seen other reporting of that. This will be a different personality. So it'll be like a breath of fresh air. And so I do think they'll play pretty good basketball. Obviously, they got to get Jamal Murray back. Here's something else that happened, because it's been reported that Michael Malone's treatment of Russell Westbrook
Who would have thunk it?
is, rubbed some guys the
Russ
wrong way.
couldn't have been at the center of
Right,
some
there you go,
team
right.
unhappiness.
Well, Russell Westbrook played 16 minutes yesterday. The last time he played 16 minutes was in early December, and those are only 2 times it's happened.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works out. But that was an interesting wrinkle yesterday. I think they are going to get just a breath of fresh air bump, and we'll see how they play.
All right. They might have that. I do not think it will matter at all. Because I don't think and neither do you, obviously. Michael Malone's not a bad coach.
No,
Michael Malone was not hurting them tactically. Now, maybe a little too reliant on Russ. And, I have been a pretty vocal Russ critic the last few years. But even with his warts, it's not like, obviously Watson or Strother are better options. Like they are. Michael Malone was picking, I think, what he thought were the best of some bad options, and so he ended up going with the veteran. But I watched that game. I had that game and the Warriors game on next to each other last night. And it felt like the Kings were in it the whole time because the Nuggets can't get stops.
Correct.
At all. And as good as Joker, Joker is unbelievable. And every interview he gives, I find him to be more likable. And I also think that, his very kind of nonchalance, like where I come from, coaches get fired. So, I'm going to be fine. I believed him. I also believed, it kind of put to bed the idea that he, either had a hand in it or was consulted in it. I believe him. I believe him that he was they came to me, talked to me, and was like, okay, fine, whatever. I think Russ not getting minutes might solve one problem and create another one. Because Russ has never been a go quietly type of guy, and we're already seeing the percolations of what is kind of the Russell Westbrook unhappiness starter pack. He had the weird media spot the other day after he blew or helped blow the game where Joker had 60.
He missed the layup.
He barked it, not ran up on, but approached a fan. Yesterday, somebody said Westbrook.
He does not like that. Just stop saying that,
no,
please.
Well, they're trying
He's on the record. He does not like it.
I know he doesn't like it. It also seems inbounds. I know he's big on that's my name, don't mess with my name, and I think
doesn't like it.
I know he doesn't like it. As far as heckling goes, I think heckling in general is loser behavior, but it's part of the NBA. It's not profanity. It's not a slur. I think you just got to kind of.
Yeah. I get it. It's your last name, but kids do that.
Right.
Kids make fun of people's names.
And so but my point is, I don't think that Russ all of a sudden getting benched by Adelman is going to make it a happy situation.
All you have
to
do here.
Okay, he's not being benched in the traditional sense. So saying benched is a little bit too strong for me. I'm not even going to talk. First of all, it's funny to say that he thinks heckling is bad, but yet like Nick trolls all the time. Like he literally trolls Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, the Bills, Eagles, whatever. So that's essentially heckling, just on a different kind of platform. So but anyway, we'll leave that to the side. He trolls Denver Broncos, the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix, which I know Nuggets fans will know. But yeah, listen, it's also funny to be like, oh, firing Michael Malone won't necessarily make them better. This is when you fail to understand what it's like to play for different personalities from a coaching standpoint. And I already kind of did a more deep dive of all the different levels of coaching and the relationships that you're going to have. But it's not a matter of the X's and O's, the schematics, the actual boiled down aspects of what you're going to want from your head coach in the NBA. It's more now like the players just fundamentally did not feel comfortable playing for Michael Malone and wanted to play for him. They were no longer playing as free and as comfortable as grounded. They were uncomfortable. And when you're uncomfortable, you're not going to get the best version of yourself. Even if you are a great coach, even if you are telling them exactly what they need to do and what you're telling them to do is 100% perfect and accurate. If the message is still coming from a messenger that is making players uncomfortable or they're not listening to it because of the messenger, then you're not going to get the right outcome. And I know a lot of people want to cry and say, oh, this is just a soft league, et cetera, et cetera. It's neither here nor there at this point. As a head coach, you need to be able to meet your team where they're at. You need to be able to reach them where you can. And if you're not doing that, that's on the head coach. So we can say that it's soft or this or that. And that might be true. That might be true. But right now, I would say that the Denver Nuggets have not been proven to be soft, right? Like when I referenced this before in the NFL with Fangio and the Miami Dolphins, like that team had proven to be soft. So when they were complaining about their head coach, their defensive coordinator being too tough and stuff, like, well, that is clearly a you problem. I wouldn't say that the Denver Nuggets are known to be soft. So I disagree with that. They literally won a ring. So, and they've been a top team consistently in the NBA. So I disagree with that. The Miami Dolphins consistently were not. Right, especially defensively. So this idea that we're just gonna jump and just say, oh, well, this is a soft team, or et cetera, et cetera. Like, no, I don't agree with that either. I really don't, especially because a lot of these guys came from very intense programs with very intense head coaches as well. So I reject this idea that the Nuggets are just being quote unquote soft. So I think there probably was an issue with Michael Malone as a whole, his personality, how he was connecting to the team, his level of intensity, how much he pushed his players in ways that didn't really feel productive for the team itself. They were fed up with it. They were exhausted by it. They were fatigued by it. They were uncomfortable by it. So yeah, getting someone like Michael Malone out of the building really does have the potential to give them a legitimate boost, to finally have this team playing more comfortable, more grounded, more free, and ultimately a higher quality level of ball. I think that's totally on the table, especially when you have a player like Jokic. Not to mention, these guys want to prove that they're a top team. They want to prove that Michael Malone was holding them back. And if they just completely falter and fall and don't play well, then they can't point the fingers. They can't say, oh, well, it was Malone. Like, they can't do that. They can't do that. So they want to prove, hey, this guy was holding us back. And yeah, obviously this all comes down to also getting Jamal Murray back. Right, you're not going to go anywhere if you don't have your full team. If you don't have your number 2 guy there. Like I talked about that, a couple days ago where we were talking about, oh, what's going on with the Nuggets. And it's like, well, they're not healthy and nobody wants to talk about it. But in basketball, if you're not fully healthy, then you're just nothing. That's just the way it goes in basketball. The Lakers are not going to win any championship if Luka's injured, if LeBron is injured, if Austin Reeves is injured, if Jimmy Butler goes down, the Warriors have no chance. If Jamal Murray goes down, the Nuggets have no chance. It's the way basketball is. You lose your 2 or 3 player, you're done. The fall off is too great. The fall off is too great from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3 to 3 to 5. Like it's too great. It's too great. You can't just have someone else. It can't be just next man up. It's not football. It's not the way this works. So yeah, it's not, because I was saying, and the Kings were in it the whole time. Again, they're not full strength, so that makes sense. It's looking like he'll be coming back potentially on Friday. So I'm sure it probably depends. I guess no other games will be played, so they won't really necessarily know how much that game matters. But they have a tough schedule. So it also depends too, because they're playing the Rockets, right? They play the Rockets, and let me see if I can get this. Where the heck are the Nuggets? They are. They play the Rockets and the Grizzlies. So the Grizzlies are definitely playing for something. The Rockets, they're potentially not. That might actually be a toss-up game where where the Rockets are not really playing everyone. Because I believe that game should essentially be nothing for the Rockets. I don't think the Rockets will, based on where they are in the standings, they shouldn't really be playing for anything. The Grizzlies are, obviously, so that'll be that should be like a real game. So yeah, I'm sure Jamal Murray will probably try to come back for that game. But do the Grizzlies potentially play at all today? Do they? I don't think they do, right? No, right. So their next game is just the Nuggets, and then they play the Mavs as well. So, yeah, things are going to come down to the wire for sure. But this kind of like blanket, I don't really think, I give them a chance, but I don't really, like, when you say I give them a chance, but not really, like, you're pretty much saying I don't really believe in the Nuggets. You're like, yeah, like I gotta say that they have a chance because it's like anyone can have a chance, and you still got Jokic, but like to not really see them as like a team that you don't want to face or a great team. Again, people are forgetting what this team also looks like with Jamal Murray and what this team looks like when they're a complete roster in a 7-game series. I don't understand why people are just all of a sudden just like acting like the Nuggets are nothing. I for the life of me, I don't get it. I guess the NBA only has like 2 contenders. It could only just be, apparently according to like Nick, it's just the Celtics or the Lakers. That's it. No one else has a real chance. Everyone else just has a technical chance because hey, puncher's chance, but doesn't make sense to me. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Denver Nuggets? Do you think that they're a beast? Do you think they're the most dangerous when they're vulnerable? Or do you not really give them a chance? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're all on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.